Good evening, folks. It's at 4:54 p.m. Today is May 13th and Friday, right? So this was our old summary. So I'm not gonna walk you through the pre-market notes. You have to watch my first video as usual, right? To understand the context and importance of the levels, right? This is 20 important, 92 important. This is important, right? And this one is important. So basically, overall the summary is about this level. Buyers are in control from overnight, right? So about this level, immediately you do not want to short, but instead you can look for longs. When price gets to here or close to this or this, then you can look for shorts. That's the pretty much idea. This is also important level. And then NQ, right? So I'm just going to walk you through very quickly. 389 is important. I want sellers to hold it below 389 and price close right at 389 today, right? And then overall between this, both are in control. Ideally for buyers, similar to this in ES, right? I want them to hold it above 12,068 dream number, right? So above 68, buyers are active. About this, buyers are active, right? So remember 1268 number, 1268. See, that was my long. So now you know why I took this long here, But in Mboxwave, so I'm discussing about Mboxwave, right? So both ES and NQ, I took it at the same time, right? And then because ES was about this, right? NQ was right at here, right? That's why I took the long, and these are my exit: 50%, 30%, 10%. And 10%, at each level I bailed out slowly. Same thing here, and that's it. I was done for the day. Okay, so here, right? So now here is the Mboxwave way, right? So you can see before open, right? So opening was here. Before open, you can see there was a complete control over sellers, had a complete control, right? Based on this price action. So if you're looking at only this in a vacuum, right, then you have no way to know which side price is going to move, right? You have to know the context. See, that's why I'm saying you have to watch the video first, the other video, to know the context. So if you know the context or background, then you know that NQ is still favoring buyers about this 68. So this 68, right? So even though you are seeing these sellers, right, you can't short it. Even though let's say it goes down, right, you cannot short it here at 68 because price already moved down from 161 to 68, right? So it's already 100 point down. You do not want to short at the tail end on Friday, right? You have to wait for a balancing pullback, something. So that's another idea if it goes down, right? But for now, the idea is above buyers if overnight has to say something. And another reason is, if you remember yesterday's pre-market notes, I said yesterday I wrote it today and tomorrow, which tomorrow is today. Both days buyers could be active depending on the close from yesterday, and yesterday it closed higher, right? So that's why today maybe some buyers could be active, and overnight also was up. So that was the picture in short term, that hey, buyers are active, right? So that's why you do not want to short right here, but there was a short setup, but you have to ignore it, you have to know the levels also, right? So let's say if you based on Mbox, let's say you have shorted here, right? Because looking at this, because this bid completely took the offer, right? And then you can see this supply, this selling came in, right? And this delta was down, right? This was negative also, greater than this 51, right? You have X control dot. Everything was going in your favor based on Mbox, right? So somebody could have shorted right here and with the stop right here, right? And nothing is wrong, nothing is wrong. It's a good trade. Nothing is wrong, But I can't help, right? I did not take this short because I'm not using Mbox blindly, right? So anyway, in the morning of the open, I only trade the levels and the context. Then later in the day, if I am available, I can check Mbox and all these things, right? But here I can make another case also, for my longs also. Why? So I can think reverse way, since I was looking for longs from the context, right, based on the context, I can use the same information, but I can read it different way. So look at this, right, negative minus 15, right, 21, 39, 304, 229, right, minus 248, right, X controls, all the selling was going on, right, and then you can see 48, which is fine, but it's, and then you can see X control to the buy side, right, but this means nothing, correct, there is no follow through. Then you see X control, big dot, right, big arrow, and then price came down, right, and you see minus 141, right, and you can see a great supply. This bid took over this offer, right, supply was great, right, delta was great, everything was great, correct. But then the problem was, the way I was reading it, that 229, 304, reducing 229, 248 is almost similar to 229, and then 141, and then I have this great, see, look at the supply here, look at the delta here, look at, there is no volume here, right, and now I have opening great volume to the downside, surpassing everything, all this thing, very good short, right, but look at the delta, minus 141. I would have seen it like, minus 400 or 300 or something, not like this, right. So at least if I'm not going long, it would prevent me to go short, something is off here. And now there was another thing, I don't know whether you follow internals, but if you look at internals, they were super bullish here, I consider them as a super bullish, and price was gapped up above yesterday's high, so those are the things. Considering all these favorable conditions for buyers, I would not short right of the open regardless of Mbox signal, Then what happened? See, so I went long right here, right, but then let's say if I was not long, let's say from my levels, right, then you see this, right, which is what, this, look at this, right, offer to control of bids immediately, right. If sellers were so strong, let's say if you even shorted it here, right, but by looking at this alone, you should be bailing out, because it's the instant opposite force now. That's why, even though if you took a short, you can, take some loss and just bail out and go long. So this was a sign that I was looking for. Basically, if I was using Mbox only, this is the sign, and I had this right at this bottom. I had X control, right, the big dot, the favoring buyers, and I had a buying came in, right, and I had this volume, the up volume came in, right. So it was a good sign that, hey, something is off to these sellers. Let's say if you didn't want to go long here, right, then you wait, right, there is another spike up, and look at this, see, imbalance. See, these are the signs that you should go long here, and most likely it's gonna take this out. But let's say you waited, right, and there was another imbalance right here also. So that was a sign to go long, but you want to wait for, let's say you want to wait for this thing to clear, regular Mboxwave, right, then this was a long right here, at 160, because by the time you can see completely buying going on, right. So, and then you manage it, right, the way you want to manage it, right. So you can manage it like this way. If you have a levels, then you can manage it like this way. If you don't have a levels, then you manage it based on this, right. So you look for any weakness and you bail out, right. So here price came down, no selling, right, minus 46, with algos you hold it, but 31 is a warning sign, right, then 138, so it's covered now, this is good, right, you are still holding it. Then you see minus 5 and balancing, here you bail out at 300, which is equivalent to this, my second 10%. Last up to this point I was 90% out, right. So based on Mbox, you should be out here, and that's it. That is your trade of the day. After that, you do not want to poke around. Why? It's a Friday, overall it's a bearish market. You do not want to be greedy, so, and you can see it. After that, chop, right? Nothing is working out. This is failed, right? This failed, right? This failed, this failed. See, now this one worked out, right? But then by the time you must have lost, right? And then there was another trade here. If you're watching it, see this delta minus 400, right? The highest delta. Then you can see 500, 257, 125, double algo, X control big dot, short here, 390, which is this level right here. That was short. Okay, and look at this, down, 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 and the offers or bid, whatever you call it. I think it's bid, right? So it's a bid or sell volume, I would say. That's it. And that be all for today.